Hello everyone, this is Shokora Zouheikyoku aka Chocomint, and welcome back to our Let's Play of Meeting in the Flesh. In the last playthrough, we have met with Brattan, and he has been showing Will around the interesting place that he just found, and it was a kind of a mysterious hole to another world, or something like that. We actually don't know what on the other side of the hole, but Brattan seems to want to go there, like through the hole, despite the risks and everything, because he is an avenger. And so, being a good friend we're going to support that. And now we will continue to see what will happen next and what is Brattan's going to do next. Let's go. I had to rush a lot more after the outing with Brattan, and I can feel my legs starting to ache a little. I think back to that ominous hole wandering the landscape of the flash fields, nestled in clumps of hair, the surface a perfect reflection of the moons overhead. And I think of Brattan sitting before it, eyes almost as bright as the reflection itself. Just remembering the passion and determination in his voice sends a small shiver down my back. It's only exhaustion that keeps me from dwelling on it. My thoughts immediately snapped to the sight of that strange hole in the flesh rose, Brattan sitting before it, and that certainly wakes me up. I jolt upright in an instant, my drowsiness dissipating like so much smoke. I sit up in bed, scuffing a hand over my face and picking up the buzz that struts over my eye during the night. A cursory check of the time tells me I'm not late, but I should move quickly if I want to be on time, so I do. And I try very hard not to think about the eclipse. I'll have the time to spare for that once I'm actually on my rent. Leaving the salt plant empty-handed so early in the day feels profoundly weird, and I'm not quite sure what to do with my hands as I head towards the door. It's almost a relief when the boss calls me right before I reach the door.
Hey girl, hold on a second.
Yes, boss? He jumps over, digging through the pocket of his apron and pulling out a few scraps of paper. He returns both of them in his pocket, but holds one out to me.
So this guy came by earlier and gave me this. So that's for you.
A big guy?
Yes, big and furry. That's a tease.
Probably Brattan. I take the piece of paper, smiling to myself a bit at the frayed edges and the haphazard way it's been folded. And folded in it reveals a short message written in Brattan's message crowd.
Hey Bill, I wanted to talk to you about you know what, so you could come by the park when you have time, thanks. This is Brattan.
Very obvious. It's still like him to call it the you know what. I smile to myself as I fold the note back up and tuck it in my pocket.
Something wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. Just seems like he wants to talk to me about something. The boss nods, hands still settle on his face. Hey boss.
No?
What are you going to be doing during the eclipse? I take my time heading to the park. Going there at such a leisurely pace is an unfamiliar experience, but not a bad one. Not at all. I inhale deeply when the greenery starts to loom ahead. There's a fresh, snappy quality to the air that chases away any lethargy, with an undercurrent of sweet damp earth. I don't see Brattan anywhere, but I did get here awfully early. He might not have been expecting me to get here until later in the afternoon, but that's fine. I don't mind spending some time in the park. The earth underfoot is pleasantly damp, swishing slightly under my weight as I walk a short way down the main path. The chittering of insects and rustling of leaves is soothing. I stop to sit down on a stump, closing my eyes as I listen to the far-off shouting of a crow. Of course, my thoughts drift to the hole in the flesh fields. That mirror outburst, full of mystery. The hole that Brattan is planning on disappearing into today. Brattan will probably slip into another world today and never come back.
Hey Bill!
Brattan swoops in out of nowhere and squeezing around me in a giant warm hug.
You got here fast.
I must have been awfully absorbed in my thoughts, since I didn't even hear his footsteps approaching. I let Brattan halfway to my feet, giving his arm a small pat. Yeah, the boss ended up giving me the day off. I wasn't sure what to do, so I thought I might as well just come here.
Huh, To be honest, I didn't expect you to come around until the afternoon either.
Brattan shifts his weight from one foot to the other, fidgeting. He seems restless, like he's just waiting to spring something up but isn't sure of the right timing for it. And I find a smile creeping onto my face as I watch him rub at the back of his neck. Come on. I bat his arm again. Let's get something to eat, and then we can talk. We walk to a snack store near the park entrance. There's a large sign posted at the window reading, closing at midday for eclipse. Thanks. I get the sorbellas wrapped in sweet leaves. Not something I usually eat in the morning, but I figure if I ever deserve a treat, it's on eclipse day before I have to have an important talk with my friend. Brattan buys sear salt slabs doused in lemon sauce. Both orders come with a cup of sweet nectar water, and we drink in small sips as we walk back towards the park.
Here, this way.
Brattan tilts his head towards a small path off to the side.
There's a nice spot we can eat at.
He leads the way to a small clearing off the main trail. A string of small mushrooms surround a giant cluster of mushrooms. They're soft and springy to touch, almost like pillows, and they make for wonderfully comfortable seating. We settle down with our snacks and eat quietly for a few moments, listening to the chirp of birds. Far away, there's the sounds of people shouting and jeering, but the noises are quickly swallowed up by the bird's ambience. It's nice. It's a nice day for the eclipse to happen. Brattan suddenly clears his throat, and I look over. He doesn't say anything though, just popping another salt slab in his mouth. The salt crystals crunch loudly between his teeth. He seems to be avoiding looking at me. It's not like him to seem so nervous. Well, I guess anyone would be nervous before attempting so adventurous. I decide to break the silence instead. What should I say though? As if I was really going to enter the hall. Say it's a nice day for trying something new. Wish him luck. I mean, I am tempted between the second and the third choice, so why not wish him luck? More than anything, I want things to go smoothly for Brattan. Hey Brattan. Brattan leans over a little distractedly, raising a hand to scratch an itch near his ears. Good luck with everything today, alright? He blinks, ears flicking back, like he didn't expect me to say that. And then he breaks out into a wide grin, showing off almost all of his teeth. They're brilliantly white.
Yeah, thanks. It means a lot coming from you. I really wanted it to go smoothly.
Brattan licks his lips, tongue swiping up straight salt crystals that have stuck to the short hairs at the corner of his mouth. I give him what I hope is a reassuring pat to his arm. It will, since it's you. I'm sure things will go smoothly. I eat a few of my sorbellas. The sharp sting of salt cuts nicely through the cloying sweetness of the lips, making for a really tasty snack. It's been a while since I had these, and they're tastier than I remember. I pop another one in my mouth before holding out a few for Brattan to take. Do you want some?
Hey, Bill.
There's a sudden gravity to Brattan's voice, and I automatically pull back my hand. Yeah?
Would you go in the hole with me?
That suddenly catches me off guard, but not necessarily in a bad way, I guess. It's just surprising. You want me to go in there with you?
Yeah.
I put the salt pellets back in their little container. I have something licking my hand clean. Then I stare up into the greenery surrounding us. A crow in a nearby tree has been staring at us, I realize. It might be after our food. But I know I'm just letting my thoughts wander because the subject on hand is so difficult. The thought of going into the hole is definitely a little frightening, but at the same time, it must be a little giddy too. Going into completely uncharted territory, seeing what this different world is like. I brought inside. It's scary, but also a little exciting. It's a big decision to make, and I toy with a little container in my lap as I think over what to say. Did you ask anyone else? Brattan shakes his head. Then why did you decide to ask me? Brattan exhales slowly, sitting forward, and the movement rebels through his muscles. His ears twitch strangely as he thinks.
I remember when I first met you on your delivery route.
I probably look a little surprised about where the conversation seems to be going, because Brattan gives a husky laugh.
I was just thinking back to it. I know soul delivery isn't an easy job, because there's a lot of places to stop by, and you're running all day, and there's all those notes you have to keep in mind. And you were a little behind on your deliveries the first time I saw you, remember? You were all out of breath from running, and you were holding your scrap of paper with your notes on it, but it was crinkly from sweat.
Brattan laughs again, a little louder, and his lips pull back to show his teeth. His tail wags once, thumbing against the mushrooms beneath us and kicking up a small cloud of spurs.
You were in a rush, but I remember you still make sure to say hi to me, and it was really cute. You were out of breath and looking frazzled, but you still smiled and said hello. And then you ran off as fast as you could, looking at your notes so you wouldn't make any mistakes.
What does this have to do with going into the hole, I wonder? Brattan clears his throat before sitting up straight, looking up into the surrounding foliage as he continues.
I don't know a lot of people who are as hardworking as you, but you also always try to be friendly. You're really reliable, but you're not too serious either. I can't remember the last time you missed a day at work, but you don't just do the work, you always try to smile at people too, and I think that's really admirable. And if I'm going to end up in a strange world, then there's nobody else I'd rather help with me.
I'm sure I'm blushing a little. It's not often that anyone compliments me so directly, and I draw my knees up, resting my chin on them. I'm suddenly glad for the way my hair and the sores on my face obscure my expression a little. I'm sure I look pretty impressed. Thanks. It means a lot to me that you say such nice things. I think you're pretty reliable and friendly too, you know.
Not as much as you though.
Brattan leans closer to me, resting his head atop mine for a moment. His warm breath drops down my back before he sits back up.
So, what do you say? Do you wanna make the jump with me?
Admittedly, I feel a little shiver of anticipation crawl down my spine when he says those words. But I don't want to rush this decision either. Wow. Brattan must be able to sense my hesitation because he passed my back. It's a gentle gesture despite his tremendous strength. His paw bars swishing against my shoulder blades when he rubs at my back once, twice.
You don't need to answer it right away.
The mushrooms squeak beneath us as Brattan settles on his back, then swings his legs up and sprints to his feet in one swift movement. A sprinkling of mushroom spores swirl around him as he offers a hand to help me to my feet. I accept it.
Do you have any other plans for today?
I think for a moment. Not really.
Then do you want to kill a little time together until the eclipse? I can show you around a bit. I bet I know lots of weird places you never stumbled across before.
The Brattan starts to add something more. He changes his mind at the last moment and only gives me a big grin. I feel like what Brattan said was something along the lines of, after all, I won't be here anymore after today. Regardless of what I decide to do, today will probably be the last day I get to spend any time with Brattan. How could I possibly turn you down? I give Brattan a smile back, and his tail wags furiously. He holds my hand as we walk towards the bar's side entrance. I think Brattan isn't doing it consciously, and I don't mind it, so I say nothing about it. Brattan's caterpillar is there, tied to a pole, chilling on a patch of grass near the entrance. It looks up with a squeal when we approach, strings of jewel connecting from his mandibles to the blades of grass. Brattan, of course, hurries over to rub at his head and pull it away from the grass, saying something about how too much white grass will give it an upset stomach. He pulls a few rolls of gloves out of a pouch on the caterpillar's harness and feeds it those instead. The caterpillar seems to love them, cheering enthusiastically.
Here, hop on.
He's already gotten into place on the caterpillar's back, and he passed the spot behind him. I clamber on and wrap my arms around Brattan's middle, putting myself close to him to keep myself safely balanced. His fur's warm against skin.
You still have your eyes closed, right?
Yes.
For real?
Yeah, I promise.
Okay, good, because we're almost there.
Brattan had eventually stopped the caterpillar at the edge of a nearby field and promised to show me something very special. And while I didn't doubt him, he's leading me through what feels like a forest, and stepping over tree roots with my eyes closed is admittedly a little challenging. His fingers are firmly crossed around my hand, but they can't stop a particularly low-hanging branch from dropping me in the forehead.
Oh, sorry. Here, let's do it like this.
He lifts me up like a weak nonny, one hand rubbing on my back and other beneath the crook of my knees, like he's carrying a child, I guess.
There, that should keep you safe.
A very interesting but very comfortable position to be in though, I hope. And before I can voice any complaints, Brattan hicks up at a brick truck. His shoulder crashed through any branches unfortunate enough to be in the way. Surprisingly, I emerged completely unscathed, presumably because Brattan is holding me protectively to his chest. His footsteps thump easily off the dirt, traveling what sounds like an ill-defined path through the woods until he finally comes to a stop. I think I can hear water?
And you can open your eyes now.
Oh, wow! The exclamation leaves my lips before I can think to stop myself. We're standing in a small clearing, lit warmly by sunlight filtering through just loosened leaves. Birds stew overhead, calling to each other with noises I'm not familiar with the steady chirping of insects filling in any gaps in their conversation, all set to the soothing backdrop of a waterfall journey into a small pond. The water is gorgeous, shimmering brilliantly in the sunlight like it's made of molten metals. I have to crouch at the water's edge to see that there's a reason why. Eyes?
There's jellyworms.
Looking closely, I can tell the water is flowing at a language. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. What? I can tell the water is flowing at a languid pace, thick and vicious with these worms. They lend the water a shimmery, almost gelatinous quality, causing it to lap up against the ground in thick blobs. I gingerly touch my fingers to the surface of the water, then quickly withdraw them. Is cold?
Nice and cool, right? They're perfect for a sunny day like this.
And without further ado, Brattan begins wading into the pool. The jellyworms and water swirl around his body. His body easily parts through them, leaving a hole that lingers for a split second before closing back up. Light bounces off the worms all around him, surrounding him an almost blinding halo of light.
Come on in, it feels great.
Brattan's feet are bare in a huge smile, and it does look awfully fun in there, so I carefully remove my cloak, folding it roughly and draping it over a low-hanging tree branch. Then I jump in, walk in, run in. Temptation. I am tempted to use the jump in though, let's do it.
Jump in.
Decide to just take the plunge. There's no use dragging it out after all. So I take a few steps back, then get a spinning start before launching myself towards the water. My landing is soft, almost like I've jumped onto a large cushion. There's no hard impact, just the cool embrace of the water as I plunge into the surface. Jellyworms throw into the air from the splashback. The worms slide easily off me when I stand back up, leaving my skin feeling tingly and cool.
That's the spirit. It feels great, doesn't it? Here, watch this.
Without giving me a chance to answer, Brattan plunges further into the waterfall, diving beneath the surface. The water glimmers in his wake, the ripple settling down quickly and leaving the surface tranquil for a split second before he emerges, triumphantly. Oh, cute! Very cute. Let's see. So that is the worms, huh? Jelly worms. Brattan throws both arms in the air as he breaks through the surface, throwing jelly worms in all directions. They catch the sunlight while they're airborne, light reflecting off and through them, sending beautiful spots of light dancing across all surroundings. So I'm guessing the worms doesn't cause harm or something, so they're pretty safe.
It's beautiful, right? I found the spot years ago while exploring, and it's always been my secret treasure.
It really is beautiful. My voice is breathless and tremble with awe. I come my hands and gently scoop up some of the water, then slowly let it pour back out, watching the jelly wand sparkle with every movement. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. It's amazing. When I get no response, I look up to see Brattan smiling at me.
I'm really glad I got to show it to you. I'm really going to miss it when I go away, both you and this place. So let's forget everything else and have a good time right now, okay?
I can understand the sentiment. Brattan is fearless and brave, but that doesn't mean he lacks attachments. He still loves this city, and everything in it. It's just that exploring the unknown world is more important than anything else. I saw a nod, smiling back. Of course. We end up spending a good few hours there, in our own little world, surrounded by the lights of the jelly worms and the sooty chill of the water. The viscosity of the water and the density of the walls makes it easy to float on the surface, and when I lie back and look at the sky, I can see the three suns slowly nearing each other. The moment I have to make my decision grows nearer, bit by bit. What are you going to do with her? We're on our way back from the waterfall, passing by the park once more when I realize that, at some point, Brattan will have to leave behind the caterpillar we're riding. Brattan seems to have the same realization and looks down. The caterpillar continues steadily forward in little lunges, carrying us without complaint, but it slows to a stop when Brattan gives it a double pat on the back.
Actually, let's walk from here.
I climb down without complaint but gives Brattan a curious look, and he grins.
I want to save her energy if I can. I'll take her to the hole, but let her go afterward. She's used to the route we always go, so she'll know to return to the coral when it starts getting dark.
There's a pause before he asks, looking a little awkward.
I mean, I guess you might need her too, after the eclipse, if you have to head back.
There's an unspoken tension in the air. Brattan hasn't asked me that very important question yet, and I'm not sure how I'll answer either. So I only give a small nod. That's fine. I think walking will be nice. I give the caterpillar a small rub down a segment of his back, and I can feel the shift of muscles beneath his skin.
Great! The weather is decent today, but the sun's not too hot, so it should be a nice walk. Come on, this way.
The walk through the flash fields takes a while, but that's fine. We still have plenty of time before the eclipse. The skin beneath our feet is pliant as spuds, meshy batches of fat compressing under our weights. Those areas are exhausting to get through, and Brattan periodically stops so I can catch my breath. Once or twice, he asks if I like him to carry me, but each time, I say I appreciate the thought, but I'm fine. I don't want to wear him out when such a big moment is coming up soon. We talk about this and that as Brattan leads the way around big piles of bristle and bone, whereas behind us from the holes, poking their noses out holes burrowed into surrounding skin. But they never draw too close. I wonder if they do. Can feel that something unusual is about to happen.
Do you think they know anything about the eclipse?
Brattan's looking at the bull rat sunning itself out on a large tooth, and I grin. Maybe they also plan to do special things during the eclipse? Who knows? Even with the long walk, we reach a hole with a little time to spare. Brattan loosed the caterpillar's harness over a scraggly chunk of bone, then retrieves a visor from one of his pouches, slipping it on so he can squint up towards the sun.
Does it look like it'll be long before the eclipse?
I nod and sit down next to the hole, looking up at the mirror's slick surface. My reflection stares back at me. Ripples dance across the surface when Brattan takes a seat next to me, sending tremors through the surrounding skin and distorting our reflection until they blur together into one indistinct shape. For a long moment, he sits there in silence. I can hear his breath moving through his barrel chest, exhaling in long huffs, and I can tell he's about to speak when his next breath comes a little shorter. I look over just as he opens his mouth.
Bill, will you come with me?
Just hearing that question sends a thrill racing through my chest. my heart beating a rapid drumbeat against my ribcage. There's a clear gravity in Brattan's voice, and I know I shouldn't answer this question easily. It's a big decision to make. I turn away as I organize my task, because I know looking Brattan in the eye right now will just scatter my thoughts. Every breath I take feels hot and heavy in my throat, and I clench my hands tight. I thought I need longer to deliberate, but it feels like part of me was just waiting for this moment to talk. The words leave my mouth one by one, quiet but firm, and I hear my own voice cut through the ambience of the flash burst. And that should be a good pause in our playthrough of Media in the Flesh. So it is a pretty important decision at the end. So this time, instead of only Brattan going through the hole, he has invited Phil to come over to the hole with him. So it's a big decision to make. And before we have a little date, kind of hang out and last thing up before he disappeared through the hole. It's a nice experience actually, and almost there. Our decision is very obvious, but that should be for the next video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next playthrough of Meeting in the Flash. Bye bye!